Bonjour, Kinamagi and Ireland Indigenikas, and welcome to this production of the My Math Network. If you've ever wondered what to do if you make a mistake, this lesson is for you. Chapter 4, Lesson 4, Adjust Quotients. All right, we'll begin with our essential question. And our essential question in chapter 4 is, what strategies can I use to divide by a two-digit divisor? Most of these are going to be related to where do I place my first digit, as all of the other elements of the standard algorithm, divide, multiply, subtract, check, and bring down, are the same. So how can I use estimation as you're dividing? And this was alluded to at several points of the last lesson. Let's put out a sample problem here. Let's say I had 37 into 894. What we're talking about here is rounding this first digit to a 4 and saying how many times will 4 go into the first digit here of 8. Granted, we're still going to be putting it right here. 4 goes in 8 twice. And then I go ahead and solve my problem. 37 times 2 is going to be 74. And then I would go ahead with my steps. So it's going to help us get that first step. Of course, there will be times it's going to let us down, and we will have to follow some other things that are be coming up in this lesson today. So let's clear those drawings. So estimate using compatible numbers to find the numbers in the tens place of the quotient. We had 728 divided by 14, and we went and rounded 14 to 10, and 1 goes into 70, or 10 goes into 77 times. So we start with a 7 up here, and let's go ahead and use my annotation tool. This part is not yet in your textbook. So we started with a 7 there. Let's see what happens. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry the 2. I'll put it up here anyway. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. Uh-oh. This didn't work. What could we do now? Well, we could kind of look and say, how much are we really off? And then change what we had here. So we could go ahead and clear everything. And it was off by quite a bit. So let's go ahead and do a 5. 5 times 4 is 20. Put a 0. Put my 2 up here. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2, 7. Ooh, now we got it. As far as placing that first digit. It is okay to make mistakes. The question is, will you panic, or will you simply change that first digit to make it closer and then try again? Yes, you sometimes do need to try again. Yes, even if you're as old as your teacher. So let's go ahead and clear. And we're going to get into the book here at page 271. Example, basic. As always, I do expect that you will follow along with the text, whether you're in person or whether you're watching this at 3 a.m. on YouTube, which you shouldn't be, you should be in bed. But writing this in, one, will help you kind of picture exactly where you want to place those digits. But two, it gives you something to look back at when you're doing the homework. There will be times you'll be like, what did I need to do again? And putting it in there. And that's what it's good for. If at some point I'm going a little bit faster than you can write, feel free always to pause the video, write down what you need to write down, and then unpause it. You have that ability, use it. So let's look at example basic. And it says during lunch, there were 144 students in the cafeteria. Cafeteria has a total of 16 tables. How many students can sit at each table? So I pull out 144 and 16, and let's grab my annotation tool here. That is going to be the problem I'm solving. And it's going to equal S for students. Again, the letter itself, which letter they chose is insignificant. I'm not a huge fan of using S because it could be misconstrued for a 5. I also don't like to use X, T, O, Z, L, I. Anything that can be misconstrued as a different mathematical piece here. All right, so we're going to estimate by rounding this to 20, and 2 goes into 14 7 times. And now I'm going to start at 7. Let's try that estimate. Am I guaranteed to be correct? No, but we're going to try it anyway. 7 times 6 is 42. And I put the 4 over here. And they've already filled this in, so we kind of know where this is going to go. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 4 is 11. I subtract. I have a 2, and I have a 3. Is 32 less than 16? Or even equal to? Not equal to. Is it less than? No. Is it greater than or equal to? Yes. Am I right? No. So now I'm going to have to backtrack, and I'm going to have to get rid of that 7. And I'll do that on the next screen. But in real life, you're just going to do some erasing. Try not to put a hole in your paper. So let's adjust. And let's try 8. And again, I'm going to grab my annotation tool. And they told me to try 8, so I will. 8 times 6 is 48. Put an 8. Put a 4. And I'm going to get 128. I subtract. I got 16. Is 16 less than 16? No, it is definitely equal to. So that's not going to work. So let's try one more. Let's try 9. 9 times 6 is 54. I put a 4. I'll put the 5 up here. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14. I get a 0. Is 0 less than 16? Yes. So we checked for reasonableness. 9 is kind of close to 7. Sure. Since that equals 9. 9 students can sit at each table, and they just have a lot of 9s there. Too many 9s for my liking. Let's make it a little less. Yes, this does represent having to do a little bit more work, but it's important that you not panic when you make an error. You will make errors unless you're like your teacher. Just kidding. Your teacher will make errors too, and sometimes he'll have to do these exact same steps. All right, make sure these are written in. If not, go ahead and pause the video. And let's move on to the top of page 272, example niche. They start by estimating to get our compatible numbers, and they rounded this to 30 and this to 1,200. How many times does 3 go into 12? You're going to have a 4 there. So I'm going to go ahead and write that so you can just see it. And then there's 1 0 left over, so 40. So when we get this answer, we should probably be looking at a with an answer quotient of about 40. Let's see if that's correct. So I'm going to try the estimate. I'm going to use the 4. And I'm going to grab, try to adjust this just right. Ish. There we go. Get my annotation tool. Well, let's try a 4, like they suggested. 32 times 4, 3 times 4 is 12, 128. Is 120, or then we subtract, well, wait a minute. Is 128 less than 125? Wrong answer, can't do it. We don't want that because I can't use negative numbers in my standard algorithm. I'm going to have to adjust. Let's try 3. 32 times 3 is 96. I subtract and I get 29. Is 29 less than 32? Yep. Then I just keep on going here. So I keep my 2 here. That we knew was a 96. A 29. So I bring down the 2, 292. Now you have to stop and do the exact same thing again. 292 is close to 300. And this is close to 30. But can I put a 10 up here? Definitely a no-go on that. So let's try a 9. Because that's the closest number. Remember, we can only have one digit in the place value spot. Can't have a 2-digit number. So now I multiply 9 times 2 is 18. So I'm going to put an 8. I'm going to carry my 1 or regroup. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 1 is 28. I subtract, I got a 4. Is 4 less than 32? Yep. So our answer is 29, remainder 4. And how did that compare to our original answer? That was at that point 40. It's at a stretch, but it's not crazy difference here. All right, go ahead and make sure this is written in. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clear this. Sarah divided 306 by 34 and got a quotient of 8 remainder 34. Explain and correct her error. Well, to do this, I'm going to need to actually solve the problem. And I want you to do it along with me. So we have 34. And 8 remainder 4. So let's try by putting 8 here. 8 times 4, 32. 24, 27. 6 minus 2 is 4. Uh-oh. You can already start to see the error. Is 34 equal to 34? Yup. So instead of putting this 34 here, Sarah should have put this to 9, which would end up actually being her answer. All right, let's go to the next screen. Explain how you know when a digit you try in the quotient is too small. Essentially, when you subtract, if the difference is equal to or greater than the divisor, you made an error. All right, I'd like you to try numbers 2 and 4. As always, I want you to figure this on your paper or on a whiteboard. Well, after you've paused the video, and then come back here and unpause the video and check your answers. So go ahead and pause the video. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. First one, 24. Second one, 73, remainder 60. Yes, we are getting bigger numbers. No, that is not a big problem. Just takes a little more time and concentration. Like I'm sure you would find an Easter egg of at least one error by your teacher during this. And I know where it is, actually. It was on a previous screen back. So if you find it and tell me about it, you will get an Air 5 from me. But you just got to take your time and be patient. Let's go ahead and I'm going to skip you up to number 9. $242 divided by 34. Go ahead, pause the video, and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. Let's get our answer. 7, remainder 4. In many of these, you may have answered it correctly the very first time where you're like, Mr. I got it right on this dot. And that's all right. But we know that if we're doing rounding, we have 30. And how many times is 3 going to 24? Well, 8. I'm going to end up with it incorrect and have to adjust it. That's just the nature of the game here. All right, here's where I want you to go into the homework part. It'll be on page 275 and 276. If you feel the need to practice a few more before that part, you're welcome to do that, and that's always a good idea. And then you could check it with a parent, guardian, or your teacher via office hours or live stream. If you're ready for the homework, you can begin on 275 and 276. I recommend that you write out the answers on some form of paper and send it back to me with the next paper exchange. You can staple it to the lesson 4 paper if you needed more space. If you're doing the Google form, I would recommend you just put your name and lesson 4.4. That way I can kind of look back and say, oh yeah, this is exactly where the student made an error, or this is exactly where the student nailed it and got it right. So you have those options. Please remember to consider visiting our live stream. Times are set in the Google Classroom every night so that you can see what's coming up on the next session. Or you can visit us at office hours or reach out to me via email at mireland@sagchipschool.net. Hope you all have a mental Gizhigad. Bama P.